What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 on the old Craftsman Backpack Blower. Done a few things since the last video off camera, and we're going to discuss those now. So one thing I did do is I did weld the whatever this thing is called back into the muffler housing. This thing is just about rusted out. A little pinhole here. The welds kept blowing through, but I believe I got it on there. Don't judge my welds too much. I am not a welder, and that's the best I could do with my little Chicago electric Harbor Freight welder, so not too worried about that. So that is the exhaust. The next thing we need to talk about is this rewind cord. If you remember last time, it was loose and it was hanging out like this. So I pulled the nut off. I highly recommend you don't. It was a mess. There is a very long coiled spring underneath this plastic. So when I pulled that and pulled this up, that coil spring unwound and shot everywhere. So that's that. So that is fixed. The muffler is fixed. Now the next thing I ran into was I guess you could call this an airbox. It's where the air filter goes. But it had several cracks in here. There was one there, there was one there, and there was one there, which was allowing air to get inside and bypass the filter, because it would come up through the crack underneath the filter and go into the carburetor. So what I did, this plastic is super slick. You can't hardly get glue or anything to stick to it. So I took a wire wheel and ran it in reverse of the lay of the wires and went around this whole thing, and that really dug grooves into this plastic, which I'm hoping gave this plastic weld epoxy something to bite onto so it doesn't peel up. And so I ran it all the way down to here and then ran it all the way up and kind of over the top lip, creating a complete seal all the way around that. Now the next thing that I have noticed is, here's the carburetor where it mounts. Well, so look at this fit. I mean, it's terrible. There's no gasket, there's no O-ring. I mean, air can come right around the side and go under your filter and right into the motor, and we don't want that. So I think what I'm going to do is probably put some silicone around that when I bolt it back down, and that's going to seal that gap and also hold it in place. Shouldn't have to pull this off again. So there, when I bolt this back down, it should seal everything, and we should have an airtight airbox after that. So the next part that we need to do before we start to reassemble is take apart this carburetor and give it a good cleaning. So let's do that now. Alright, let's see what we got in here. Looks like 2 screws to get this bottom off. This might have to come off too. Oh boy. Well, that's just a drain. Oh boy. We're going to be stuck on there, it looks like. There it went. Oof. Yeah. Okay, so here's, oh, it smells terrible. It smells like straight lacquer thinner. It's been in there a minute. Get that float out. Okay. So, float's got a little cutout, and that goes facing up. So there's the float. I don't hear or feel anything in there. Oh boy, look at that. That is lovely. Let's put this plug back in and we'll let that soak a little bit. Get a little bit of that carb clean. Ah, shoot. Just get a little bit in there and we're going to let that sit and soak. Set that right there. Alright, let's go ahead and pull some of this nastiness out. Shoo. Alright, and there's the other side. It's got some gunk up in there. I can definitely say that that jet is clogged. Now, that should come out of there, hopefully. So I'm going to look at that needle. Okay, so it doesn't want to come out that way. What about this way? There we go. Let's see if our little needle, yep, it's free. And it looks good still. Alright, let's see if that will come out of there now. Yeah. So there's the main jet. The main jet is definitely clogged. Okay, everybody, so went ahead and I put the muffler back on, and we went ahead and bolted the motor back to the housing. There is our carburetor, all cleaned up, all nice and shiny. I was able to get the jet clear, so everything went back together. I did do some silicone up in that airbox, and then bolted or screwed it on, and then I put a bead of silicone around, or RTV around it, and you can see inside there where I rubbed it in. So that airbox should be sealed. So we are going to go ahead and get this put back together. There's our impeller, and there's the other half, all nice and clean. So I am going to go off camera. I'm going to get this reassembled, and then we will we'll be ready to test it. See you shortly. Okay, so we got it back together. Looking good. Everything went back in as it should. Let's do half choke. The day it was put away, maybe even a little bit better since it's got a good clean. Rev it up a little bit for you. Call this one done.